Hello, Ran here, aka Mac, and welcome. So back on February the 5th, 2013, CIG released a post that was titled The Death of a Spaceman, which highlighted their intentions when it came to how the death mechanic will work in the persistent universe. Now this was established very early on, and we have heard it referenced throughout the development since, most recently in the latest Calling All Devs video. Since then I have realised the likelihood that possibly the majority of backers don't actually know what CIG's intentions are when handling player deaths, as 6 years later the back account has grown greatly. So I decided now would be a good time to create a video helping those that don't know understand what will happen to your character each time they die and why CIG want to do it this way. Now do bear in mind that this is CIG's intentions from 2013. Specific numbers, details and methods are still to be determined, but it is going to be along these lines. So the basics of player death. CIG say that your main character will have X amount of lives. This number is yet to be determined, but they have hinted towards, say, 9 lives. Now the player will lose a life if they are shot in the head, blown up in their ship, or if their escape pod has been blown up as well. So basically dealt enough damage that CIG determine as too much for the player to survive. Most wounds or injuries can be treated and will allow you to retain that specific life after some medical attention, in which case you'll just wake up back in the last location you docked at. There won't be a traditional checkpoints along the way in which you can just respawn 5 minutes back from where you died. It will be a specific location like a landing zone or a bed which you will create as a spawn point. Now during the character creation process, when the player is choosing what their character will look like, you will specify a beneficiary in case of your death. Now this beneficiary will inherit your ships, your equipment, and any other assets that CIG decide are transferable. The beneficiary is to be your next character after your main character is gone. You could make it your son, your daughter, your uncle, anyone you choose. You can create the backstory for it. And if you use up all your lives, you will respawn as your beneficiary attending the funeral of your previous character and then assume the role of your new character. Now before we get further into it, I just want to highlight the reasoning for why CIG is taking this sort of permadeath style approach. Chris Roberts opened this whole Death of a Spaceman post talking about how games feel more like a grind rather than a challenge due to the auto-save mechanic that you get every 2 seconds, making players sloppy and lazy. He wants there to be a sense of time progression and accomplishment for when a player achieves something. He wants to make players think about their actions and plan ahead so that when they do finally finish a job, they feel like they've earned it. So what qualifies as a death in Star Citizen is when your ship blows up with you inside, you take a headshot, or maybe having your escape pod destroyed after ejecting, but do note that shooting helpless escape pods is seen as a really heinous crime in Star Citizen's persistent universe, and it will carry a real severe punishment as well, meaning the police will come after you or you won't be able to visit the majority of UEE locations, and player bounties as well. In terms of disconnecting or rage quitting, I'm not entirely sure on this, and I'm sure they're still trying to figure it out, but they did mention how your ship will enter an autopilot mode and try to get the ship to safety, meaning that the ship is then back on a planet where you last landed, at where you can respawn. Or if your ship is destroyed, it'll just assume you ejected and place you back in the last planet you landed on. They will be monitoring the player's disconnects, and if they feel like the player is cheating the system, they will punish them, maybe forcing a death penalty. They have looked into the disconnects and so forth, because sometimes it just cannot be helped. And don't worry, they are working on a method so that if you do accidentally lose connection or have a power cut and you can't get back in, there's something in place for it. Now there is going to be a way to regain your lives or get them back. They mentioned completing some form of in-game mission or paying a lot of money to a specialist on a remote planet doing stem cell research. It's quite specific, where you could maybe regain a life or just reset your lives. Don't expect that to be easy nor cheap. The missions will likely be quite long-winded and potentially dangerous, and the cost, I would have thought it would be around the same price as a ship, or a big ship, or more. He doesn't want it to be too punishing though, just enough so that it slows play down and encourages tactics and teamwork and really drives a great sense of accomplishment. Now there is going to be a full medical profession, from patching wounds up in the field to potentially even playing doctor, watching for people's symptoms and then treating them accordingly based on what your knowledge of that profession is. So keeping friends alive and playing in a medical role or profession will be really important in teamwork. If you are in a boarding action and your player gets shot, or a player gets shot, making sure that they are brought out again and not left to die is going to be a real importance to a lot of orgs, I would have thought. Now, when I first heard about this, I was really happy. Obviously, this was, like I say, back in 2013. I really love this idea. Something which does frustrate me in gaming is the lack of commitment and teamwork. I know that if I die, in particular in certain games, I'll just respawn and approach the level in a different way. Everyone running in guns blazing encourage others to do the same, and it just becomes another fast-paced shooter with no real weight to your actions or how you would approach a mission. When it comes to slowing down and planning your missions, you will realise that choosing the right equipment will be very important, picking the right weapon for the mission or the location, like a sniper rifle when taking out a bounty planetside or a shotgun when entering a close quarters environment, taking the right suit or armour for the environment. You may require thermal protection or radiation protection, forcing the player to really think more about how they're going to approach a mission, and again slow down combat so people don't just go running in, causing a bit of a clusterfuck. Something else CIG is doing is wear and tear on the player, so after each death of your character, you will attain some form of permanent damage, be it a bionic arm or a scar on the face or some form of physical appearance or difference. This means that over time you will see your character and others age in some way, giving an indication of the action that this person has seen. Really cool feature is that. Now, to finish with, Star Citizen is a player skill-based game. It is not a traditional RPG with skill points unlocking new abilities. Your ability to actually perform a task will determine how well you do that, which will just make this game feel more robust, having people doing what they are good at rather than just attaining these skill points and then magically being able to do it after, so everyone has the same level. Anyway, that is the basics of how Star Citizen is handling deaths and the lives of your characters. I, for one, think it is a superb way of doing it. I'm sure they need to iron out certain areas of where it would alter a little way, maybe the amount of lives and, you know, what consists of a death and whatnot. But I like it. I would love to know what your thoughts are on it. It won't be for everything. See, Chris Roberts did say that this game isn't going to be for everyone. He's making the game that he wants, and that's why I backed. Anyway, do let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know if you're for this, against this, if you have a good idea on how they could handle this. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Really helps my channel out. Hit that subscribe button for more Star Citizen content. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, and I shall see you next time.